Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you're having a great day, and thanks for joining me on this small cap trade review. Going through my day trades every single day for a couple months now, and I'll tell you what, the review process has paid out massively. We are thinking about the trades we take a lot more than we were when we first started this. Kind of dodging a lot of things that we used to walk into, mostly because I'm just being embarrassed. Still taking some red trades here and there though, but I think that our hit rate is getting a little bit better throughout the process. We are taking a few less trades though. Now that's something that I don't necessarily care for. The hit rate's good, so it's whatever. But it's summertime. I'm just gonna say the summertime volume isn't necessarily there. Things have been a little bit slower, and hopefully, school coming back and fall around the corner, we can see some additional volume, specifically within our small caps. So, with that being said, I want to make sure that you guys know exactly what I'm doing day to day, start to finish. So, this weekend, I think tomorrow's Friday, so right away, I want to do a video on my scanner. Right, I've got my it's called in my specific broker. It's called Market Movers, and then I've got some filters in it. Right, we're filtering by relative volume, the number of trades that have taken place, the market cap. Um, we have our high, low 52 week, right? So just like a couple parameters that we're sorting by, and that's how I get these stocks every day that I'm trading, as well as a news scanner, right? So we're kind of watching for news again, looking at companies with specific market caps, right? We like to see less than 50 million, but we do read most of the news that comes out. There's not that much news that you can't catch it all. Um, but again, looking for a company with a low market cap, with a low daily average volume, with a catalyst, a news event that's going to drive volume, which would be an influx, creating high relative volume, right? And then we're going to pair that with a technical setup, right? That's all that we do. It's really easy, super duper basic stuff. Um, so today, CWD, first on list. Here's our catalyst. Caliber establishes a link token digital asset treasury, right? I don't know what link is, Chainlink or something. Some type of fence, farmers. I'm just kidding. But it's not Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. It is one of the better. It's, obviously not a meme coin, but it is what it is. I don't think crypto is necessarily a hot topic right now, but it is what it is. We can't pick and choose what news happens to us each day. We only can kind of observe what's going on, and then we pick and choose from what's already happened, right? So, not the greatest news, and this is why I'm not in on this play. You don't have to take every play. And that's I might have taken this in the past, right? Just because I was like, okay, I gotta get on it, but I decide which plays I take. Thank you very much, and I didn't like this. I don't want any crypto strategies that aren't Ethereum, that aren't Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. I understand that this is maybe a top 10, but whatever. So there's a lot going on here, right? A lot of exposure to that risk, some dilution as well, which is really, really bad. You don't ever want dilution, this. But then why it can be good, right? So the news pop in the morning, and we're kind of slow to this. And let's talk about how you could have played it, even though I didn't. That's going to be important too, right? Um, it's the news pop, but it doesn't break down. So lots of times we like to see the news pop with a VWAP breakdown, and then we enter in on the reclaim. You don't really see that here. So this could be your entry here. You could say, well, it held VWAP and then expanded out, which is kind of like trending down and then reclaiming. So maybe this green bar could have been a potential early entry if you didn't get that first candle. But then aside from that, I don't see a lot of like structure. Like you could enter on VWAP here with a stop below. Maybe use this as your stop. That's quite quite wide, but it would have paid. You would have got your 1-to-1. Like if you're entering on VWAP here, here's your stop. You would get that 1-to-1. That would pay, right? And even, your 2-to-1. You could do that on each of these VWAP tests, right? This one would be a little bit better. right? Entering here with a stop below the last, a little bit tighter than using the first one. But we still get the 1-to-1, and you still get the 2-to-1. So the result is the same no matter which setup you take. But again, I didn't care for the news, and I see it die all day, right? So it's like, okay, we're right. But what we do have here is midday reversal, and then we can pair that with a key level, which in this case is our 200 moving average, right? So we've got the teal cross the blue, and then the price crosses the red and holds it, right? And then we're doing the same thing here again, basically, where we did slightly reverse. It's kind of just a whiplash, though, and this should just be the main reversal. But what we have is an additional key level, which is view up, right? And then this section of candles would have been really nice entries right here, right? Because when we reclaim VWAP, you could take entry with a stop below VWAP. So that would have been like the bee's knees here. You could have played it early on this first reversal with this key level hold, right? I don't know where you'd enter this, probably like right here on the false breakout. Just use that low, right, as your stop, and your 1-to-1 just gets you above VWAP, which is kind of risky because lots of times we expect VWAP to reject, like we did here, and also here. And that's typically what we'd expect. So, you'd want to be scaling out early there probably. However, if you do get in, a little bit later here, then you can just use VWAP as your stop loss, right? And then this would be a really nice play because it just super squeezed into the afternoon here, which is aggressive and not something that we always see. So even though we did get the reversal signal in the midday here, I think that this move is not something that we're always going to really see. Like, this is a massive move, 73% off of the reversal signal. Typically, I wouldn't expect that much, right? But that's how we'd play it, We want to wait, if you're not in on it early, to scalp up, right, off the VWAP with your, stop below your recent lows. You don't want to play it on the right side of the apex, right? So you want to wait for, that retracement, wait for everything to reset, for that momentum to kind of come back around, and then you can swing it up again, right? With confirmation, right? Like, you wait for there to be strength, right? Here's our reversal. So, our change of state in delivery, our market structure shift. And then we're confirming that with the hold of the 200, with the hold of the VWAP, and then just massive expansion upwards. So that was CWD off of their crypto treasury thing that they've got going on. AQB had no news. Just watching this. Was on scanners. This is my CWD was my top trade here today that we're looking for as far as relative volume and the number of trades that took place on it. There was 831,000 trades on CWD. AQB had 275,000 trades on it. Now, this is within my other brokers with that scanner that I'm talking about that we're going to maybe showcase to you guys this weekend here. So a lot of volume on these stocks, and we expect that with a stock with a catalyst, but one without is like, what's going on here, right? Kind of like a post-earnings thing. They had earnings on the 4th, which is a long time ago at this point, but it had some movement yesterday, some preload, and then gapped up this morning, and that was last night, sorry. So preloading yesterday afternoon, gapped up in after hours. This morning retraced aggressively, but then just a wicked morning reversal here. Big green bar sets it up for a run right out of the gate. Like, this did not wait for anyone. Market open, volume go. Like, this didn't have any volume really. It was just straight up retracement, and then didn't wait for anyone. But it doesn't sustain because there's no catalysts. So I was just kind of watching that, confirming that we don't necessarily want to play something without news unless there's nothing else going, right? Because you do, at a certain point, you just have to chase volume. SOGP, this was our big winner of the day. declaring a special cash dividend, which we've seen someone else do that just the other day. It was like an 80 cents. NBY just had special cash dividend, right? And we see that have a nice run. So maybe a new theme developing here potentially. And we're late on it. You know, we're super late on this, but we see the news. We like the news. We understand that that news worked well in the past. So where do we get in on this trade? Because I don't want to chase it, right? We're watching it trend up here, and it's just like I can't take this trade, right? There's no entry model here for me at all. Maybe you enter at this buy side liquidity invalidation, right? Because we did reject it really hard in the morning, and then when we break through, I guess that could be our entry. Maybe with a stop loss, but swing, you know, below our swing low, right? Like we take it at the break of this. Honestly, not really until here. Beyond like, because these aren't confirmed candles. This is still dipping in, dipping in. This is the candle you like. Then you enter in on the next one, right? And our stop is way, way down. So that could have been your optimal entry, I guess. Not the entry I took. You know, it just felt like a lot of chasing here. And we could have got back in on the 21 EMA trend retest. That would have been really nice. We take it at this break of structure, though. We see these two highs break out and hold this group of candles that are all above, you know, this previous high that was resistance and is now support, you know, classic stuff. There's our entry. Our stop loss is below, you know, this recent low here. Just keeping it tight. We don't want too much risk. And, you know, the rest is history here. Get our 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1. Now, if you even miss that, you get an additional setup here, which I was already in the trade, so we didn't take. But this is a gap fill strategy that we can cover where a stock halts up and it creates a gap on the halt. You can enter in that gap. When the price retraces into this void of liquidity, these are your entries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles that you could enter in on with a stop loss below. You just put your stop loss below the gap. Easy stuff. And you can scalp it up, you know, and that would have paid because your stop loss is so tight. Let's say we take like a median candle or stop loss just below the gap, and you could have got 6.5 to 1, which is crazy because, you know, the highest our trade would have worked out from entry was 8 to 1, which we don't get. We fully scale at 5. But, you know, you could have got the same reward because your risk is managed at a different point. So it's like even though a stock runs and you miss it, right, you can still find other entries with appropriate managed risk, which is pretty cool, right? With this break of structure. And then we even have a gap fill strategy here later in the afternoon that would have paid. And then OPAD. This is the new open, I guess. High short percent, low market cap. You know, they're positioned to capitalize off of the interest rate cuts coming in September, supposedly. And I'm just a massive run on this. So we see open, I think, kind of pull back recently, right? Because the market cap here is 3.25 billion, where OPAD similarly positioned, but only worth 127 million, right? So the range for price improvement here is far more than the company already worth 3 billion, right? Like we could squeeze this up to 3 billion to match it, and then the price is going up, you know, tenfold from 40 to 50 or something. Where open might, you know, potentially double from 3 billion to 6 billion. Like it can't, you know, things can't go forever, right? There is only so much money. So this has the potential to run a little bit harder and is positioned similarly where they're going to capitalize off of the interest rate cut. They have a high short percent on it right now, and I think a lot of memer interest as well, right, for a potential squeeze. So just watching it. I like to watch. I'll be in the corner. Maybe I don't know if the show's good enough. SOGP was nice. Tomorrow is a whole new set of tickers though, and then we're gonna go through the scanners that I use, both the volume scanner and the news scanner, because now you've got like a month of trades that I've taken and reviewed, and then let's show you guys how to find the tickers to trade. At which point you've got the whole picture, and we can just churn it through as our daily routine, and hang out, make some friends. So cheers. Thank you so much. Leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon in the next